Happy Thursday, everybody. This is your girl, CWall, checking in for our weekly coaching from the couch. And look, everyone, I am not here by myself this week. Do you all know this face? Do you all know this face? Of course you know this face. I am joined today by my fam, the amazing, awesome, our Washington football team insider, Lake Lewis Jr.
What's up? What's up, Candy? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Look, Lake and I think I've told folks this, but for everybody watching, Lake was my very first show guest. When I first started doing Coaching from the Couch, when I first had the idea, I mentioned it to Lake, and Lake immediately said I'd be happy to be on the show. And he was for sure the very first guest on this show. So it means a lot to me whenever I talk to Lake and when he's on the show, because it's like a milestone every single time.
Yeah, and I can say to your audience, this is my sister right here. She's she's grinding. You're putting in the work, and great things are happening as I expected that they would. And it's only going to get better, but for this market, there's only 2 or 3 women that I truly put at the top of the heap as far as just everything that you want as far as a journalist, and you're one of them. So, congratulations to your success.
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you, because you're big time.
Nah.
Yes, you are. I remember walking in the. Yes, you are. Because I remember like, oh my gosh, that's Lake Lewis.
See, when you say stuff like that, people are going to be thinking, does he think that about himself? No, I'm just a normal guy from DC that's worked hard, and that's all I can say. Hard work pays off. But we're not where we want to be at the end of the day. We're still grinding to get there. So, I'm just a normal guy at the end of the day.
You know what? Lake is so humble, and he is telling the truth. He is a normal guy. I still get like, oh, I talked to Lake today, and it's like, but Lake is so humble, and he's a true pro at covering sports for certain. Lake, I just want to share this, publicly, and not because we're family, but your work is authentic.
Yeah.
And you are truly almost like it's just you're the pinnacle of what we all aspire to be in sports journalism. And you just get it. You get the players, you get the front office, and most importantly, you get the fans.
Yeah.
So, and you care about what you are reporting. You're not out here for the gossip columns. You're not out here just trying to get, the first big story that's going to get people riled up. You here and you're just reporting the facts, and you're doing great work and even better business. You're an awesome person. So it means a lot to me to have you in my circle, for sure.
I appreciate it. This is a business where a lot of people want to be first at everything. And I've always told myself, if I could be first with the fans, as far as just them knowing at the end of the day, hey, I'm a kid from DC. This was a team that I rooted for growing up. Mm-hmm. Naturally, now that fandom's kind of gone because it's work. But at the end of the day, I'm not out here trying to gossip. I could probably break 10, 15 stories a day if need be, but I probably would lose 10, 15 solid relationships in doing so. So it's not worth it at the end of the day.
Exactly. No, I get it. And I know, I understand. And
we've had those conversations. Don't do it. Don't say it.
Don't even do it. Don't even say it.
Yeah, let somebody else have that, because they're going to learn that maybe you shouldn't have said anything.
Exactly. So, but Lake, we got to get into the Washington football team. And there are some very cool Washington football team fans that follow this show regularly. So we always got to say what's up to them first. So one of your huge fans, Lake, Raynell, is watching.
Oh, that's my girl. How you doing? How you doing?
Yes.
What's up?
Yes, Raynell is watching. Tamika Rector Tamika, she's watching. I've seen her before COVID hit, when you were doing the live podcast at Pentagon City. These were some of the regulars. So they are on. They are on.
Yeah, he's had some good times, and Renell would drive up from Richmond. So
yes,
I trust me, I understand, and those are people that I go back with for a long time. They've been very supportive of me. Hopefully, they feel like I'm supportive of them. But that's what it's all about. It's about building relationships with good people, and hopefully, when this team starts winning, we'll be the ones that can look back and say, from the media side, I seen it all. And then from the fan side, they'll be able to say they were there in the dark days and they got through it. So we got through it together. So I think those days are coming sooner than later.
Yeah, that is awesome. Really quick, I'm going to say Cameron Mingo. I think Cameron is always on your page. Mike Lyles and Lake. You have to say hello to my mom. My mother watches every show and she's like, "Ooh, she thinks she knows you." She said, "Oh, Lake is going to be on your show tonight. Please tell him I said hi."
We're family. We family. What's up, Mom? How you doing? How you doing?
Right, exactly. So we have to definitely get into something that you just said about the dark days. And one day we're going to look back on those dark days and say, you know what, we got through it.
Yeah.
So we're in a new era. Ron Rivera, right? A new era. And I know there's been some challenges with being able to cover the team on site, but yet you are still there. You do have a presence there. Can you share if there's been any changes that you sense in the culture from what you've seen in past years, or any feedback that you've received?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, that goes without question. I know I was a little critical of Ron as far as the way the whole Dwayne Haskins thing was handled. And it wasn't so much that I was, not in favor of him benching his quarterback. That's his prerogative as a coach.
Right.
And you do want to give the team the best chance to win, regardless of whoever it is.
Right.
I just wasn't comfortable with, what he had said the week before about he was going to stick with the kid, and then he didn't do it after he had his best game. So it was like mixed signals there. But outside of that, I definitely can see a change in the culture. There's no question about it. When you look within the division of the NFC East and you see teams like Dallas, those guys are already vacationing right now. I mean, they quit. They quit on their first year coach, Mike McCarthy. Well, I haven't seen that here at all. These young guys are still trying to prove themselves as pros. You can see with your own eyes that they're getting better at certain things each week. They've always been competitive for the most part this year. So, as far as, there's a culture that's brewing here, but what has to ultimately happen is you just need to win games. The more games you win, the more that culture becomes even more contagious. Right. And hopefully they'll get a second straight win this week against the Giants.
So I mean, I'm listening to you, and I can totally even see a difference on Sundays watching the game. On TV. You can just tell the energy is different. Seems like the guys are wanting to win and be competitive. Now, you mentioned we're going to play the Giants on Sunday. We know what happened in the previous matchup against the Giants. It was a game that I know I feel like they should have won.
Yeah, they should have taken that. They should have taken that game to overtime. That's just me.
Yep. Lake is a kick the field goal person.
Yeah, kick the extra point, go to overtime. The Mo, you had Mo was on your side, momentum, and I just felt like they had really started to put it all together in that game in that fourth quarter. I know they did have the Kyle Allen fumble, but they got the ball and went right back down and scored to potentially tie the game. So I just think they could have taken it in overtime and they probably would have won the game. But, that's why I'm in the media and not coaching. So
no, a lot of people had your same, let's take this into overtime. Let's give us ourselves a shot.
Right.
But I want to go back to the energy of the overall team. And even after that game, they came back and there was still energy there. Like it was still that competition. And we've heard, and you and I have discussed this, the notion of tanking. So I want to ask you this, because I know some fans have said they got to be tanking. It's strategic. They got to be losing on purpose. What do you think about that? Do you think this team is losing on purpose? And do you think that's actually a strategy that the coaches are using
No,
potentially
no.
for a high draft pick?
Unequivocally, no, they're not tanking. I will put my professional integrity on the line and say that they're not tanking. Listen, they won last week. They should have won, 2 weeks before that, or 2 weeks before that, because they were off last week technically. So you think about it, they've been in some games, and even the Rams game, before Kyle Allen got knocked out in that game, they had gone down and taken the lead in that game, ironically. So, they've been competing. And as long as you compete and then you get a win here or there, there's no question that they're not tanking. I'll be honest and say I'm a big Justin Fields fan. At Ohio State, I can't believe I'm saying that because I'm Penn State, or we are, by the way. So I always got to
throw that in there.
That's my thing. Got to do that. So tough times right now, but we'll be back. But anyway, I think that this team really does need a dynamic quarterback, and that's not to say that Dwayne Haskins, if they really are, as Ron Rivera just said today, that they're not giving up on him. I'm just not sure if Dwayne's the guy that's going to take them where they need to go, at least not at this moment. But I do think a guy like Justin Fields from Ohio State, they won't get Trevor Lawrence from Clemson. They won't be picking that high. There's another kid that I really like, plays at BYU. I think that one of those two quarterbacks come in here next year and light it up and give them that special quarterback that they've lacked for a long time. And honestly, Candy, that's the only thing that's really holding this team back. I mean, and I'm not trying to throw shade at Kyle Allen, because since he's come in, the offense has looked a lot fluid. It's looked more fluid, and they've been able to move the ball. They're producing things, but they need a dog at that position. They need somebody that, when you look around this league, and you see all these young quarterbacks out there, Justin Herbert in LA with the Chargers. Now Miami has Tua playing. Joe Burrow, my God, rookie of the year by far. Right. You see these young guys and they're balling right now. That's what they need right here to get this thing over the top.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we want to all give the quarterback some credit, but the reality is, you're exactly right. All the teams that are Super Bowl contenders, they got a dog at quarterback. They got someone that they trust back there to make the right decision, because we know that the play call might not always work.
Right. You need somebody that, when that call's not there, they're still thinking in their mind. They might even come out the huddle saying, man, what the heck is this mess they want us to do? But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take care of it anyway. I mean, that's just how you have to be. Yeah. And I think Dwayne has some of that in him, but again, I mean, this isn't to throw shade on any of these guys. They're professionals. You know how I feel about that. Yep. A professional is a professional. For everyone that says, oh, this guy sucks and he's bad. If you had a company fantasy football, flag football league, you got some friends together out on the field, these guys would own you. They would do whatever they want to you. Right. So with that said, I still don't think that they have their quarterback of the future on this roster right now.
Right. And Mike Lyles, that's watching, agrees with you. He says it's been so long since we have had a quarterback that performed well for 2 years straight.
Yeah. I mean, you had Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was putting up some decent numbers. He was 4,000 yards, I think, 3 straight seasons. But I go back to telling people he's not it. I mean, there's systems that make quarterbacks. Jay Gruden's systems always, gave quarterbacks decent numbers, but they were a lot of deke and dunk. When I say a dog, I'm talking about a guy that will not just do that, but a guy that'll break off a 50-yard run on you, or a guy that will throw the ball 50 yards down the field. Right. We don't see that here. They don't throw the football down the field, and yet they do have a dog on that offense named Terry McLaurin, who could do everything if you allowed him to open up his game even more. So again, I think special quarterback with Terry McLaurin, man, that could be something real, real nice that we haven't seen here in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Terry McLaurin, he just unanimously was voted captain as Landon Collins is out for the season with his Achilles injury. How important do you think it is having a guy like Terry being a captain? Terry's always been so quiet, but he's such a beast out there on that field. And I think everybody was shocked after the Cowboys game when he spoke up. Everyone saw the post-game speech and it was like, what? Terry's got something to say? So how important do you think it is for him to really step up and be that leader, not just on the field, but off the field?
I mean, I think it's very important. I've said this before. What took him so long? Like, what took the team so long to name this guy a captain? He's one of their 2 or 3 best players. He epitomizes what you want in a young pro. He's a good kid. I mean, he's just a solid person and a great football player. So to me, that's what you want as a captain. And I was surprised that they didn't name him a captain. I know your peers vote. Listen, don't be fooled out there if you're watching this. Some coaches have something to do with this too. And I was shocked that Dwayne Haskins was named the captain, frankly. He hadn't done anything yet. And I understand you want your quarterbacks to be captains, but I think it's something you have to earn. Terry McLaurin has earned the right to be a captain for this team. Forget the fact that Landon Collins was injured and it, opened up a spot. This was something that was earned right in front of everyone's eyes. And for my money, you can't tell me 2 other players on this team that are better than this kid. So rightfully so. I'll say this real quick. He's not just now a captain, Candy. For my money, he's the face of the Washington football team right now.
That's big right there, Lake. You sharing that, like, Terry is the face of this team. That is an example of the future. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And then you got guys like Chase Young, Montez Sweat. Also, I definitely wanted to ask you, who have you just been overwhelmingly impressed with individually as a player so far this season?
I mean, you just said those 2 guys. I mean, obviously McLaurin, but I expected that. And you remember, I'm not trying to do this to myself, but you remember last year in training camp, I kept saying, forget Josh Doxson, forget whoever else was out there. This kid from Ohio State looks really good and no one can cover him. That was Terry McLaurin, of course. But this year, outside of Terry, I've really been impressed with Chase Young. I know he hasn't had a lot of sacks in the last 3-4 games, but believe me, his presence on the field is making a difference. And there's a reason why on the other side of the field, Montez Sweat has 5 sacks and looks like the first rounder that everyone was expecting to see last year in his rookie year. That's because of Chase Young on the other side of the field. So Washington has themselves a pair of really, really dynamic bookends for the foreseeable future. So the future is bright. But yeah, those 2 guys have stood out to me big time.
Yeah. Now they Chase makes a difference, and yes, Montez is absolutely feeding off of that difference for certain. And I just love, watching the game on TV. It's like Chase seems like the biggest cheerleader out there. Whenever they're like scanning across the sideline, Chase is hyping up. I mean, every single play on both sides of the ball. He is just
he's a winner.
He's a winner. Yeah.
He's a winner. And I noticed also when he was injured and he wasn't playing, he stood right next to Ron Rivera almost the whole game. He was right there, engaged in the game, meeting players coming off the field. And that's what you want. That's what you want from your best players. And yeah, I know he's a rookie, but for me, he's still one of their 2 or 3 best players. So if you get that kind of camaraderie from a McLaurin, speaking in the locker room, what we saw, and you get that on the other side of the ball too from Chase Young, they're not that far away from being able to compete consistently. As far as winning, I think that'll come naturally a lot more once they figure out their quarterback situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're getting some questions in, getting some questions in. One from Damon Thorne about the running back position. What do you think about Antonio Gibson, JD McKissick? How do you think overall this group is performing?
They're getting better. I mean, I think you can see with Antonio, he's getting better each game. I still, for the life of me, I kept saying this guy's a wide receiver. That's what he was in college, and he torched my team in the Cotton Bowl. I saw it with my own eyes. But they're making him a running back, and he did do that at Memphis as well. But he's getting better every game. You're starting to see him hit his holes and hit his reads, a lot quicker than early in the year. So I think the pro game is starting to slow down to him. And now you're starting to see his speed emerge because, we get on him a little bit because he's kind of got caught a couple times. There's a 4.2 40 guy that got caught, so you can't have that. But that's the speed of the game, not underestimating defensive backs and the angles that they come and run with to tackle you. But I think he's getting really comfortable, and I think that he'll have a really nice game Sunday. The Giants are a tough defense, so you want to see that upward trend and trajectory that Antonio's having. McKissick, versatile player, gives them different looks out the backfield as well. So at times, they still miss AP. That was my guy. So
yeah,
I think at times they still miss him. As far as the tough inside running. Peyton Barber's done okay, but they're getting better. They're getting better.
Yeah, I had a whole rant on here. What was that? Maybe a week or two ago. Matter of fact, I think it was when Donna was on the show.
Okay.
And I just kind of went on a tangent. We started talking about AP, and I was just like, geez.
Listen, I said, I mean, how I did, how Martin said on Martin, I said it. I said it right here on Candy Show. I really personally felt like if this team had kept Adrian and possibly, I know he's struggling in New England, but a guy that knew your system, Cam Newton, I just thought if you had Cam Newton here, quarterback, and Adrian as a running back with some of these young guys, we might be having a different conversation.
Totally different conversation.
Yeah.
It's a totally different conversation just in those upgrades in those two positions. It gives your entire offense a different look.
Yeah, and I know some people might now, watching this might say, what are you talking about? Cam looks terrible in New England. It's totally different. We're talking about a system that he was familiar with, that he had success in, that he went to a Super Bowl in, that he won an MVP with. Whatever reasons why they didn't bring him in, that's their prerogative, and they didn't do it. They brought in another guy who played in their system, in Kyle Allen, but I don't know. I just thought Cam could have done something here. I really do.
Yeah. So we have another question coming in from Daryl Taylor about Bryce Love. Is there any updates on Bryce Love?
I mean, he's been having swelling in his knee. Obviously he had the surgery on that, and it's still been kind of problematic for him. So they're just taking their time. They understand what kind of talent he is. And, if this guy's healthy, I'm not going to venture to kind of go there, but I could say it could be kind of a poor man's Christian McCaffrey because they both came from Stanford. Bryce Love was looking better than Christian McCaffrey at Stanford, ironically. And then he obviously had that horrific knee injury in his last game in college. But, I think they have him in their future. They have plans for him as well. But right now they're just going to take it easy and make sure there's no swelling in that surgically repaired knee.
Yep, absolutely. Another question has come in. We're getting a bunch of questions now late, which is all good. So, okay, I'm assuming this one, I guess it could be either Ryan. Another question comes in. Do you think we need to trade Ryan? Well, the trade deadline was Tuesday. We know Washington football team didn't make any moves, but any thoughts, I guess, on trading Ryan Kerrigan or Ryan Anderson, since some of those names were continuing to come up, as time went on?
Well, I think in both situations with both Ryans, one, they didn't trade one because they weren't getting what they thought equal value would be for him. And that's obviously Kerrigan. And then for Ryan Anderson, they weren't getting anything. So there was no interest. So at the end of the day, they love Ryan Kerrigan. We know that. You know, I was about to slip up and say the R word, but he's a Washington football team legend and
Right.
all-time sack leader and just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Yeah.
You know, but with that said, you can see the writing's kind of on the wall. They want to keep him here. I think they would like to sign him next year, you know, to another deal, and they probably will entertain doing it. The question is, does he want to be here? I know he says he does, and he wants to finish, you know, his career here, but he's still got some quality football in the tank. I mean, he's got 4 sacks this year, you know, 2 in his last 23 snaps. So he can still play, but you got these 2 young dynamic bookends. Where do you put him on the field? So it'll be interesting to see how they work this out.
Right. Yeah, it definitely will. I know when, you know, the rumor mill started churning earlier this week about, you know, Ryan Kerrigan wanting, you know, requesting a trade and all that, it was like, oh no, not the showstopper. You know what I mean?
I mean, it would be hard. It would be hard for a lot of fans to see him in another uniform.
Yes.
But the nature of the business is one thing Washington has struggled with for a long time. I know this is a new situation now, new coaches, new front office. I get it. But one of the things the organization has struggled with under Dan Snyder is getting players to if you're going to trade a guy, to get the proper value for them. And unfortunately, they kind of devalue their own players so that nobody wants them, at least not in the trade. They'll wait till you release a guy and then they'll go somewhere else and play well. And then we've always, and I say we because I cover the team, but you know, the team's always brought in other people's leftovers, you know, or has-beens, guys that are at the end of their career and they come here and get paid and don't perform. So they're trying not to duplicate that now, Candy. So I think by them not trading Kerrigan and not having a knee-jerk reaction and, you know, getting nothing of equal value for him, I think that was smart because they're in a playoff race right now for their division. So you're going to need Ryan Kerrigan this year.
Yeah. Can you believe in a playoff race and 2 wins?
I know when I said that, my lip quivered because I was like, I couldn't believe I just used the words like where's Jim Moore right now? Playoffs.
Playoffs, right?
But listen, they win Sunday. They're 3-1 in the NFC East this year.
Yep.
With a bad Dallas team on tap.
Ooh, they're terrible. I was watching that game when Washington played them the other Sunday, and I remember like midway through the first quarter, I was like, Dallas is bad. Like this,
if they played the Jets tonight, the Jets might beat them.
Yeah, that might be their first, but they're terrible.
Oh yeah, you can't say that the Jets are the worst. The only problem with this is that if you hate the Cowboys, you better hope they get a win or 2 under their belt, because if they don't, and they're now picking in the top 2 or 3, they might not worry about Dak Prescott. They might draft a Justin Fields or kid from BYU or someone, and that would make me throw up. Oh, that would be so bad.
look, for everybody watching, look, Lakers told y'all he grew up in this area. He's from here. So listen, he understands.
Oh man, I have my
don't want Dallas to get anything. Remember when we got nervous when we thought Dallas and Philly were gonna make the playoffs? What was that last year? We were like, oh gosh, we're gonna hate this. Like this is gonna be the worst year of football ever.
Oh yeah. I mean, my father, you know, rest his soul, he passed in February, but he was a diehard Cowboys fan. So not just living in this area growing up, but you know, my father was from North Carolina, so big diehard Cowboys fan. And back in the day when those games were like just the city shut down for Dallas week, I didn't even talk to my father that week in my own house. And if they won, he would come by my bedroom and just jump up and down and rub it in my face. My mom would have to break it up. Oh man, trust me, I got some bad stories about that.
Yeah, but remember, I think that's how we bonded also, because I was like, yeah, my dad is a Cowboys fan too. And it was just like, but from the South, you know, down there in North Carolina, Southern Virginia, that's who they rooted for. It
was either you were either a diehard, you know, at the time Redskins fan, or you were a diehard Cowboys fan. And I'll tell y'all this too. Hardly no one knows this except for my family, but I don't have a problem about it. It's lighthearted. But my father was actually buried with a cowboy scarf on.
Really?
Yeah. And when I spoke at his funeral and, let everybody know we appreciated everyone for coming in. And I said, but I guess you got the last laugh, man, because you got that Cowboys thing on. Oh, that's how
had
much
it
of a
on.
diehard fan he was. Seriously. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's diehard for real, for sure. Wow. Well, that's an interesting story. That's cool, but
Hey, you get stuff on your show that I don't tell other people.
So we got a couple more questions for you. Reuben Foster, any word on Reuben's health and if he will be able to return this year?
Well, I can answer the last part of that question is no, he can't return this year because he was never put on the active roster. So when you put a person that's never on the active roster on injured reserve, they're out for the whole year. So that answers that. The other part is we don't see him out there ever. Like I was just talking to Rhiannon Walker today at practice from the Athletic. That's another family member of ours too.
Yes.
But we were just talking about that. Donna Hopkins today as well, the three of us. We didn't see him. And we were just talking about this. You never see him. So, I mean, I guess he's just rehabbing from afar, or if he's in the building, he won't come out to the field just not to cause a scene or anything. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Reuben because, he's playing. This is technically the last year of his contract, if I'm not mistaken. So are they going to re-sign him? I mean, they probably could re-sign him on a cheap deal. This team's going to have tons of salary cap money in the offseason. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him.
Yeah. Well, best wishes. Hope he's rehabbing well and doing well.
Absolutely.
For sure. Another question I saw come in from Wallace West. My question for Lake, what position should they target in free agency versus targeting in the draft? So who do you think big free agent targets?
Well, two scenarios in my mind that could unfold. One is if you decide to draft a quarterback, your first free agent acquisition has to be a left tackle. Your second free agent acquisition has to be a big time wide receiver to go opposite McLaurin. However, if you decide to draft, there's a tackle coming out of Oregon that might be one of the best left tackle prospects in the last decade. I mean, he's that good. If they just decided to draft him, then maybe free agent route, they could go out and get themselves a quarterback and still a wide receiver. But I just think it depends on which way they're leaning on drafting. And naturally, the rest of this year will determine if they're going to try to get a quarterback or not. Personally, I think they're going to be drafting a quarterback.
Yeah, it remains to be seen. The offseason is always so interesting.
Exactly. So, yeah, but to answer the question, free agent wise, they've got to look at a left tackle. I know the kid from Oregon's that good, and he'll probably just immediately be penciled in wherever he goes. He's that good. But you've got so many holes to fill here. I don't know if drafting that position right now would be the way to go, because that means you're probably comfortable with your quarterbacks, at least what you have, and they can't be. So they've got to draft a quarterback.
Exactly. So we're almost at our time. And see, in Lake, it went by so fast, right? It went by so fast. It's just like old friends talk. That's how it is when we talk. So one thing that we do on the show before we close out is I have everyone submit their bold predictions for this Sunday's game. So I'm gonna give everybody watching an opportunity to please share your bold predictions. Now, some of them are bold, some of them are a little wild, but we've had some bold predictions in the past that were right. Like when Alex Smith came back, someone said Alex Smith is gonna take his first snap, and it was like, whoa, but he did.
He did. He sure did. He sure did. That was wild.
That was wild. But let me ask, while everyone is submitting their bold predictions, let me ask you, like, what was that moment like for you all watching it in the press box? Because I mean, you all were there with the horrific leg injury. Now going through all of this and now seeing him actually get back on the field and play. What was that moment like, even for you, just watching that?
I mean, it was surreal. And the irony is that as soon as Kyle Allen was knocked out on the field, you knew it was a shoulder, a concussion. You knew it was a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
You probably didn't see this on television, but immediately on the sidelines, Alex jumps up and he's throwing the football. And I'm saying to myself, like he's really warming up. And sure enough, I was like, I tweeted out, this might be Alex Smith time. And sure enough, he goes out. Just to see the way that he played in the game. He didn't play his best game by any means, but just the fact to see that man take a snap under center was an incredible story. I gave, give him a lot of credit. He's a good man. And just the fact that he's living his life, he's doing what he wants to do. And the fact that his family was there, ironically, for that was it was almost like divine intervention from upstairs. That was supposed to happen on that day.
Yeah.
And it also was supposed to happen to Aaron Donald was on that field too, because if you can withstand the pressure that the Rams defense threw at him that day, I think Troy Reader, their linebacker, I think he was inducted into the Hall of Fame after that game. They looked so good.
Right,
but,
right.
Aaron Donald jumped on Alex Smith's back, literally. And you heard the sound bite with Aaron Donald on the sidelines, and he said, "Damn, that leg is strong." They were testing them. They were testing them.
Yeah.
They wanted to see, is this real? You're gonna come out here, you got to pay the price. And he withstood all that pressure, was sacked multiple times. So that was a good moment for him to prove that, hey, I made it back. Right. Will he take another snap here? That remains to be seen. But he's a play away. He's a play away from Kyle Allen being hurt, and then he's back in the game. So
it's like every week he's a play away.
How ironic would it be, though, if, God forbid, we don't want to see anybody get injured, but what happens if Kyle Allen does get hurt and Alex comes in and ultimately wins this division as the quarterback?
That would be, look, I've been saying it. Like, look, it might not have been pretty when Alex was the starting quarterback before his injury.
They were winning, though.
They were winning.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes at the end of the game, we didn't know how. Like, how did they win that game?
And I remember all those people saying, "Oh, he's only throwing for 170 yards a game. He's not doing it." But they were winning. So that's all that matters at the end of the day.
And at that point, they were by far the best team in the NFC East at that
Absolutely.
point.
Absolutely. Yep.
By far. So it's so many potential comeback stories between Alex and then Ron Rivera and his cancer treatment. I mean, these guys got a lot of inspiration right there in the locker room and a lot of stuff that they could be playing for in general.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're trying to play to get into the playoffs, win your division. Doesn't matter if you got 5 wins, 6 wins. It's probably 6 will probably do it. Mm-hmm. But for a young team to have some success, some people say that's not, success, losing record. But if they were to win 6 games, that's 3 more wins than they had last year. That's improvement. And just for them to get a taste of what it's like to be in the playoffs, they'll probably have to go to Seattle and get bludgeoned. But the point is,
right,
you give yourself a chance, and that's all you can ask for.
And that's all you can ask for. Awesome. So the bold predictions are rolling in. I'm seeing demonstrates Antonio Gibson. His bold prediction is Antonio Gibson will have 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He could be close. He'll be close. The Giants are a tough defense, really tough defense.
Yeah.
I could see him having 75 yards and a touchdown. So, close.
Yep, definitely close. Daryl says 31-10, Washington football team wins on Sunday. 31-10.
I definitely don't see that happening. I think they're going to win the football game, but I think we're looking at more like a 20-17, 20-14 game.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, wait, look, and my mom has one even. She said 31-27. She actually thinks the Giants are going to win. I think she's just throwing anything.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants offense.
I think Washington's going to end up winning this game.
I do too. I mean, they're 3-point favorites. You normally get 3 because you're at home anyway. Right. So technically they're saying this is a pick 'em, it's a toss up. It's definitely going to be a close game, but I think that they can win the game. They have the number 1 pass defense And that's the Giants, the only way that they can move the ball is try to pass the ball. So, there's opportunities in this game for Washington's D-backs to make plays. I already predicted on ABC that I think that Kendall Fuller will have a big game on Sunday.
And there's definitely been some questions about the safety position since you're bringing up the defensive backs.
Right.
Any just top of mind thoughts on that position in safety? I know Troy Apke didn't have the position wasn't playing all that well. We know Troy Apke was not,
And that hurts because you know where he went to school. I'm not gonna say it again, but yeah, that hurts. But no, I think DeShazer Everett and Cameron Curl actually filled in and did really well last week or 2 weeks ago. And I think they're really high on Cameron Curl. They really are. He's a thumper. He'll hit you. DeShazer has actually gotten better and better, back there, free safety. So not really his natural position. He's definitely a special teams ace. But I think those two guys collectively will get it done for them, this weekend.
Yep. Definitely. I'm feeling good about it as well. Got to see another one from NASDAQ. Washington football team will keep the lead the whole game. So Washington football team will score first and keep the lead the whole game.
I think so. I think this is the type of game. It's not going to be a lot of fireworks. It's just going to be an old school football game, hard hitting. But yeah, I could see that bold prediction coming true.
Yep. Another one, a couple of bold predictions here. Logan Thomas gets a touchdown in his third straight game scoring. So a touchdown for Logan Thomas.
I could see that definitely. Actually, I think that's probably what's going to happen. I wanted to say Terry McLaurin and Logan score, but that would give them 21, and I don't see them scoring 21. So I'm going to go Logan Thomas gets a touchdown in the red zone, and Gibson gets a touchdown as well. Yep.
That's a good one. And then defense gets 4 turnovers.
That's a lot. That's a lot of turnovers. How about they get a turnover and 3 sacks? That'll be 4 for you.
A turnover and 3 sacks. That's 4.
Yes.
Well, Lake, that closes out the show. We actually went for like 45 minutes.
We did.
It didn't feel like it, but we did.
It's okay. It's all right. The family is here, so I gotta. Yeah,
that's why I was like, okay. I know he said 8:00, so please tell them I said hello.
I certainly will. Will.
Yes.
This was fun though. This was fun.
Yeah. So we got to do this more often. Like seriously.
Anytime, you let me know. And anytime you want me on, you let me know. I'm here.
Sure. I told Donna, and I told, of course, I'm telling you now, and then maybe we can all get together and do a show. Why not?
Absolutely. Let's go. Let's do it.
It'll be a lot of fun. But thank you so much. And for everybody watching, thank you all so much. And I will see you guys next week.
Take care.